call me Exotic Elaine. I said, my name is the Prince. Then she said, why? I said, man, I don't know, I'm just a hell of a guy. But enough about me, let's talk about you and all the wonderful things that you and I could do. I popped some trash in a little bit of time. I showed some cash and the girl was mine. And that's when she said that she wanted me to be her one and only. She said, lay down, baby doll, I'm getting lonely. All of a sudden, out of the blue, a door slammed and a voice said, baby, where are you? Instinctively, I panicked, my heart full of fear. She said, that's my boyfriend, baby, you better get out of here. Her boyfriend busted in, he grinned an evil grin. He said, boy, I'ma tear your butt limb from limb. I was scared as hell, where was I supposed to go? I just yelled, Geronimo, and jumped out the window. Just my luck, we were in a snowstorm. I didn't even have my underwear on to keep me warm. And to top the night off, I had to break in my place because my keys were in my pants back on Sheila's bookcase. I was done sneezing and coughing. I hope this doesn't happen too often, but nevertheless, don't mean to bust your bubble. But girls of the world ain't nothing but trouble. Next time a girl gives you the play, just remember my rhyme. Just remember my rhyme. Take heed to my rhyme and get the hell away. Yeah, man, girls are nothing but trouble, man. Yeah, well, can't live with them, can't live without them. Better go take care of that. Yeah, man. All right, y'all, stay cool, man. All right, chill, friend.
They are seeing the spread of the UK variant, much more contagious, and they are having to deal with that. They're also got quite a bit of the South African variant as well. So they're facing a rise in cases, and they need to get jabbing.
For people who are just hear the word blood clots and worry, my understanding is there have been 37 serious blood clots in 17 million people who've had the jab. Is that right?
Yeah, so in terms of incidence of blood clots are incredibly common. They absolutely found no difference between the Pfizer or the AstraZeneca vaccine in terms of incidence. And in fact, you're probably less likely to have a blood clot if you've had the vaccine than if you haven't. And remember too that COVID increases your chance of blood clots. But they were looking specifically at some incredibly rare blood clots in the brain. And there were 5 cases in the UK among 11 people immunised. And there were
11 million.
Yeah, among 11 million, exactly. And there were also cases in Germany and some other countries. And what the MHRA, the regulator here, has done, said, well, look, we've not found any evidence. We'll keep investigating. But, should you have a headache for more than 4 days after your jab, which would be incredibly rare in itself, or if you should have bruising in the site of the injection which spreads elsewhere in your body, then go and seek medical attention. But absolutely, it's very, very clear these vaccines are incredibly safe, but they are also incredibly effective, Jeremy. I mean, they are so much more effective than I or any people who were developing them, the scientists, really could have dreamt they would be.
Thank you very much indeed, Fergus Walsh, BBC medical editor. We're also joined by Professor Samir Gray, who used to be in charge of all the screening programmes in the NHS and is now director of the Optimal Ageing programme. I suppose it's sad to see these mixed messages about the Oxford jab, Samir, for you, but at the same time, we do seem to be, as a nation, much keener on having it than any of the other EU countries.
Yeah, I think it's part of the linguistic problem. And Jeremy, I want you to do something for me. Never use the word safe again.
No, it's a very good point. Nothing is safe, yeah.
You said absolutely safe. At least the PM just said safe. I've never used the word safe in 50 years of my professional career.
That is the problem, isn't it? Yeah, but hang on. That's the problem. I could be. But generally, crossing the roads is safe if I look left and right.
Yeah, sure.
But you're actually, of course, but we can't. So the blood clot issue is really interesting, isn't it? In 17 million, that's a lot if there are usually none. But without vaccinations, there are apparently usually more than 37.
Absolutely. So on the day of the Cheltenham Gold Cup, we can say that benefits of vaccination are 9 to 10 on. I mean, there's never been odds like that ever at Cheltenham. And the odds of an adverse event are something like 1,000,000 to 1 against. So,
A year as a maximum. We've been through more than 6 iterations of a timetable over the last year.
Lessons have been learnt from those changed patterns of rail travel, and that might mean changes in future, according to the rail expert Tony Miles.
Passengers may see fewer peak time trains, which is actually probably a good thing, because one of the first things we discovered in the beginning of the pandemic when they took a lot of the commuter trains out was that everything that was left ran really well on time because the congestion had gone. If we don't max out the network in the peaks, the journeys that are there will be more reliable. We may see better provision for leisure travel as well.
The views are spectacular, right along the service. Hepatitis C CRT services, our customer service agents are trained to really listen, to offer extra support. Our knock and wait service is for our customers who need a little bit longer to get to the door.
So I called me mate Tom and I said, I'm waiting for me Chinese to be delivered. What are you up to?
And he said,
I'm waiting for me car to be delivered from Cinch.
I said, oh, Cinch. And he said,
yeah, Cinch. Like you said, Cinch lets you buy a quality check used car online with a 14-day money-back guarantee.
It's painted, all painted. So I took him to an expert, and he said to me, what you've got there, he said, you've got a Stradivarius and a Rembrandt. Unfortunately,
I sit in a box where the owners do. Walk the road that I've grown into. I love you to death, but I told you the truth. Hey, Yeah, I got one lawyer, got one in their dad, it's only two, man. How many times have I told you the truth, man? How many nights I've been woke, swerving the potholes, not trying to put on the wheels, I'm on the deals, I'm posting the side homes, be the hours and the times, it's only the real. I'm moving way too humble, easy to handle it off, I still got the fumbles, I'm on the hot 100, numero uno, this one ain't cool. Back again. I let them know downtown, let them know downtown, let them know as soon as we walk in. Shout out, I'm wearing Cuban links, it's not a mix, yeah. What's finding shoes? Don't look too hard, might hurt yourself. No, the color red, the blue. I'm a dangerous man with some money in my pocket. Keep up. Second best for the hustlers, gangsters, bitches, and y'all real fans. A lot of countries in Europe are going through a third wave of infections right now, and they're desperate to get as many people jabbed as possible. But in early March,
we feel that we had to make this pause in order to understand what was going on.
Some countries stopped using one of the vaccines, like one made by Oxford University and AstraZeneca.
And the comic timing, which seemed shambolic, didn't it? Everything about him seemed shambolic, from his magic tricks to the way he would tell a story, and
on Friday. The last shot is from which, and like you and yours, they've been receiving complaints about this for years. Gareth, Google told us that last year their team blocked or removed over 3.1 billion ads for violating their policies. They say they are policing it.
Yes, they say they're policing it, but this is an issue that's been going on not just for a couple of years, but for a decade. I trawled through Witch's archives. We've got stories going back to 2011 with people getting hoodwinked into paying for things like the European health insurance card. As recently as a couple of months ago, we revealed that copycat websites were already appearing for the global health insurance card as well, charging people for something they could get for free. So it's great that Google is taking action here and that it's got policies in place, but at that point, it can't be worse now.
To go into now what's going on there, but you may be somebody who's got someone in your family who's just saying, okay, I don't want to have this vaccine. What do you say to them? Nesta says, as someone who's been vocal about COVID conspiracists, I was keen to have my jab as I became eligible, though the news was all about the side effects and I actually was slightly nervous. As I'm a smoker, this makes me more likely to have clots. However, I did have it. So that's a really interesting one, isn't it? Because the risk of smoking is stratospheric compared to the risk of having the vaccine. I suppose if you put the two together and blame the vaccine, I don't know if I can help there. Gary in Bury St Edmunds, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Jeremy.
Now, your wife is thinking about it.
Yeah,
So Penny's quiz question, get into the break there. Since 98 players with a surname beginning M, M for mother, M for Mills, as in
he was still
Are deep concerns with actions by China, including Xinjiang, Hong Kong, Taiwan, cyber attacks on the United States, economic coercion toward our allies.
Sticking in the US then, because we've heard about an accusation against Armie Hammer. He's an actor, he's been in Call Me By Your Name and The Social Network. Kirsty Grant can tell us a bit more.
Yeah, the actor's been accused of raping a woman in Los Angeles back in 2017. She alleged that he abused her mentally, emotionally and sexually, and she says she was left feeling suicidal. LA Police Department are investigating.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time he's been in the news recently, is it?
No, earlier this year, private messages he supposedly sent were circulated online. He then dropped out of a comedy film he was supposed to be starring in, saying the online abuse was too much.
And what's his response been to these rape allegations then?
He's denied it, calling them outrageous, and he said he welcomes the opportunity to set the record straight.
But if you're fed up of freezing on Zoom calls or bored of Netflix shows taking ages to load, there are now plans to get ultra-fast broadband to most homes in the UK by 2025. And we know that if, like me, you've been playing video games a lot during lockdown and the pandemic, as Stefan Powell reports, there are now new figures to back that up.
A big increase in the sale of hardware, so things like consoles and PCs, is one of the main reasons why the gaming industry in the UK is now worth more than £1 billion more than it was in 2018. And with lots of us playing at home to keep in touch, to boost mental health and escape from the realities of the pandemic for a bit, this is no surprise really. The figures from the body that looks after the games industry here, Yuki, says it is now worth £7 billion, with a Nintendo Switch being the most popular bit of kit in 2020.
On to sport then. Diabolical, a disgrace, a disaster. Just a few of the words being used to describe Tottenham last night. Our sports reporter Betty Glover's here.
Hey Will, their boss Jose Mourinho didn't hold back either. He says his players failed at the basics of life, which is quite a statement. They were 2-0 up from their first leg against Dinamo Zagreb, but last night lost 3-0 and so were knocked out of the Europa League.
What is never negotiable is that attitude, and they beat us on attitude.
And quite a big one from Mourinho to apologise to the fans after the game.
Yeah, and he said what he feels is much more than sadness, but I think fans feel quite similar.
Hey Betty and Will, it's Abby here. Last night's result is completely unacceptable. Their attitude was just so poor.
Hey, it's Georgia Killier here, Tottenham YouTuber. The team literally only needed one goal to take the pressure off, yet they decided not to turn up.
Cost us badly, you know, a trophy that I think many of the fans were banking on.
They let the whole fan base down, and I think I speak for everyone when I say we're extremely frustrated and completely disappointed in the team.
Yeah, Arsenal and Manchester United both into the quarterfinals too, but Rangers joined Spurs in being knocked out, but there's a lot more to talk about with this one, isn't there?
They lost 3-1 on aggregate to Slavia Prague, but that's the least of their problems, Will, after midfielder Glenn Kamara claimed he was racially abused by one of the opposition players. He said Andre Kudela whispered something in his ear. Boss Steven Gerrard says he's angry, but what he wants to happen and what he thinks will happen will be different.
And we've just had the draw for the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
Liverpool will face Real Madrid. Manchester City have been drawn against Borussia Dortmund, while Chelsea will play Porto. And Will, what's the first thing that comes to your head when I say Wimbledon?
Well, I have done this on countless occasions. It is setting up a tent in a field and queuing for 24, I think that my most was like 36 hours.
Sounds great. Well, those snakes of people and the tents in Wimbledon Park is quite a famous sight, isn't it? People camp out overnight to secure tickets, but Will, you're going to have to put your tent away because this year that won't be happening. Organisers yesterday said the Grand Slam is likely to go ahead, but it will be with a reduced capacity crowd, which means no reselling of tickets within the grounds and no famous queue.
Right, finally then, you might have heard a lot about Rachel Blackmore this week, and if you haven't, you definitely should.
I'll tell you something, girl, you're pretty special. Rachel Blackmore wins her 5th race of the week.
We are talking about horse racing, and Rachel Blackmore has been the story of the Cheltenham Festival so far.
Tell me something, girl wins the Mayor's Novice Hurdle.
It's like things are happening around her in slow motion, and that's a great compliment. It's like Lionel Messi playing football. You just think he's got all the time in the world.
On Tuesday, she made history, becoming the first woman to win the Champion Hurdle.
I'm pinching myself. It's crazy stuff.
And today she can make even more history. She's just got to pick up Cheltenham's biggest prize.
The Gold Cup is the race that every jockey wants to win. I've an unbelievable chance.
Yep, win that and she'll become the first woman to do that too.
I can't even comprehend that right now. It really just is an overwhelming experience this whole week.
BBC Newsbeat.
Spoiler alert, we have the winner of Drag Race UK coming up in a bit, but first we are talking about the Brit Rising Star Award. It's given to an artist who's expected to do big things, and these guys have all won it in the past.
Hello.
This year, it's Griff.
It's so surreal hearing those words that just came out of your mouth. Like, honestly, I just got shivers down my whole body. Like, what on earth?
There's a big black hole where my heart used to be, and I tried my best to fill it up with things I don't need.
If you look at the list of people who've won this in the past, it is staggering. Adele, Sam Smith, Celeste.
I know. Florence and the Machine. It's me. Like, honestly, I feel like it's one big joke, and I'm like waiting for it all to be like, oh no, we got you. But yeah,
that's actually
crazy.
what this call is.
Yeah, imagine.
Sorry to break it to you. I am the person who's going to reveal it. Congratulations, Parcelu.
Yeah,
no, we should pay tribute to your other two nominees, right? You were up against Rina Sawayama.
Yes. Incredible are the two nominees. I'm such a fan of Rina, and Pa, I just think, has made such an incredible breakthrough as well, and even winning the sound polls as well.
Well, yeah, Parcelu beat you to the BBC Sound of 2021 poll. You've beaten him to the Brits Rising Star. This is the beef of our time.
I know, but we're friends. We've never met, but on social media there's a lot of love there, and I feel like we're both just cheering each other on. It's all good there, yeah.
I don't know. He told me he's coming for you.
Hey, well, don't start spreading those kind of rumours. Don't start, because I'm going to hang up this and then start tweeting Pa and beefing him. We don't want that.
Now and then, your name comes up in conversation with my friends.
Before the pandemic, compared to after the pandemic, the level of live shows you're going to be playing are going to be quite drastically different. How are you feeling about that?
It's mad because I actually only really did one show. In my whole time, I've only done one headline show, and then basically the pandemic happened. So it's wild.
You've played one gig?
Well, obviously I've done small things here and there, but actually a ticketed show, I've done one gig.
Well, your next gig will be the Brits.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the moment for it to really sink in.
The Brits, as we know, is all about creating some drama, doing something controversial. So what have you got up your sleeve?
I don't know, honestly. Well, I've only just found out I've won it. I don't know, but we need to get planning. It has to be big, so if you've got any ideas.
I think people always like falling off the stage always goes down well.
Don't speak that out. Imagine if you said that and then now I go up and do my performance and I fall over. You're going to feel horrendous.
I won't. I'll feel like I've got powers of mind control. I'll feel amazing.
That's true.
Newsbeat.